So, you may know that I'm a bit of a Harry Potter nerd.
Dumbledore.
I was around 13 when Harry Potter got big. Like, $8 million movie franchise, highest grossing film series of all time big. Obviously Harry Potter had a huge following even before the films were made, but before Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson became household names, it was still this little book series that my friends and I had read. Before the theme parks and the Legos and the midnight movie premieres, Harry Potter was still this little set of stories that I held very close to my heart. Then Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone hit the silver screen, and all of a sudden everyone and their grandmother knew who Harry Potter was and wanted a slice of the boy wizard pie. I remember my brother getting the first 3 books and talking about Harry and Voldemort like he knew the story, even though his only source of knowledge was from the movie, while his own Harry Potter books sat on the bookshelf, collecting dust. The hardcore teenage nerd inside me was furious with him. Who did he think he was, talking about Harry Potter like he'd read the books, like he knew who my beloved characters were? What a poser! He didn't even care about Harry Potter until it became a movie and went all mainstream. Eventually I grew out of that line of thinking. And now if he ever has any questions about the Potter universe, I'm happy to answer them. I share this anecdote with you today because it came to mind during a recent conversation that I had with someone. Being a Glee fan, or a Gleek, she asked me if I'd watched the show, and I found myself saying something like, I used to watch the show, but then I started pandering to the audience. The first season was the best. After that, it went all mainstream, and the quality dropped significantly. As soon as the words left my mouth, I couldn't believe what I'd said. Did I just state that the reason Glee now sucks is because it went mainstream? Did I just imply that the reason that I don't like Glee is because everyone else likes it? Am I a hipster? Then it got me thinking about all the other times that I voiced similar thoughts, such as when my brother got into Harry Potter after it became a movie. I'll admit, there are a number of such instances, and I'm not proud of them. There are many definitions for the term hipster, ranging from those regarding their fashion sense to more pejorative definitions. But the one I was most familiar with was, to paraphrase Urban Dictionary, those who reject mainstream culture in favor of indie culture, and pride themselves in this. If we go with that definition, then my judgment of Glee could be considered hipsterish. But what about the situation with my brother? Could my frustration with his sudden interest in Harry Potter be considered hipsterish? For a while now there's been this meme going around the internet called Idiot Nerd Girl, which basically makes fun of self-identified nerd girls who demonstrate a lack of knowledge in their nerdy topic of choice. Apparently there are these true nerds who are upset when poser nerds show an interest in, say, the latest Batman movie. Yet they can't tell you whether Batman is from DC or Marvel Comics. It's DC, by the way. These self-proclaimed true nerds, many of them male, don't want to include these poser nerds, many of them female, into the fandom because they don't know as much about the fandom as the veterans do. Now, if you had asked me when I was 13, I would have gladly joined the camp of the true nerds condemning the fake nerds. After all, that was what was happening between my brother and me. But now that I'm an adult, I realize that it's just really immature to feel that way. It's not like my brother's interest in Harry Potter lessened my own enjoyment of it. I consider myself a Lord of the Rings nerd, and while I've read the books, I've yet to read Tolkien's other works. Does that make me any less credible as a Lord of the Rings nerd? How can you possibly quantify someone's nerd cred? People will like what they like, and making fun of those who don't know as much about the fandom or are really into it makes you an arrogant prick. Not unlike a hipster. I'm not saying this is the case for all nerds, but a small portion of them do support this hipster attitude, which is kind of funny when you think about it. While nerds are genuinely interested in things, whether it's Doctor Who or geography or photography, hipsters are only ironically interested in things. Hipsters cherry-pick things from different cultures, whether it's a particular object or fashion sense, and then they wear these things like it's a performance. For example, they'll wear a Green Lantern shirt, even though they have no real attachment to the superhero. Nerds, conversely, will display these artifacts with pride because they are enthusiastically and unironically interested in them. So it's quite mind-boggling to see such nerds who are rejecting and judgmental of other people's interests, because isn't that the hipster's job? Shouldn't these nerds, who are typically excluded in school, understand the importance of acceptance and inclusion? I don't know. Do you guys have any opinions on nerds and hipsters? It's something that's been on my mind lately. If you have an opinion, I would love to hear it, and if you don't, well, then you don't. In the video description below are links to some videos that inspired me to talk about this topic. I'll also put some annotations at the end of the video if you want to click on those instead. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next week. Not real glasses, just broken sunglasses.